Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'm grateful to the Poverty Alliance for coordinating Challenge Poverty Week again this year. And it is important that politicians reflect and recommit to tackling poverty this week. In the face of extremely challenging financial circumstances, the SNP Scottish Government is delivering billions of pounds of support to vulnerable households. And we recognise social security as a human right, and the SNP Government is investing £6.3 billion on social security this year. This includes supporting around 325,000 children in low-income families through the game-changing Scottish Child Payment, a payment which is benefiting around 4,400 children in East Kilbride alone, to the tune of £500,000 per month. The Scottish Government is also spending over £90 million this year in discretionary housing payments, a decision which effectively scraps the Tory and now Labour bedroom tax in Scotland. And we can see the results of the actions of the SNP and Government. Poverty levels are much lower in Scotland than they are in England and Wales, and the modelling suggests that 100,000 children are being kept out of poverty this year due to Scottish Government actions. Recognising that there is still more to do, the First Minister is prioritising the eradication of child poverty. And given 85% of social security remains reserved to Westminster, we also need to see action from the UK Government. And one of Labour's first moves in government, with no notice and no consultation, was choosing to scrap universal winter fuel payments, a move that will likely push more pensioners into poverty. Of course, it's not just pensioners that are at risk from Westminster policies. As part of their austerity agenda, the Tories introduced the two-child limit and rate clause, yet Labour is keeping this. The Child Poverty Action Group has estimated that over 100 children have been pulled into poverty every single day since Labour took office because they have kept that Tory cap. That is not change. It's the same old Westminster tune. Presiding Officer, in 1997, Tony Blair promised that there would be no tuition fees under Labour. As soon as he got into Downing Street, he broke that promise. And we now see Labour governments charging student tuition fees of nearly £10,000 per year in England and Wales. Fast forward 27 years, just months before this year's general election, Keir Starmer challenged the last Prime Minister to rule out cutting winter fuel payments. And as soon as he got into Downing Street, Keir Starmer decided that the Labour Government will take the payment away from millions of pensioners. Age UK described this as reckless and wrong, a disaster for pensioners on low and modest income. Labour's solution? Apply for pension credit. However, as Citizens Advice pointed out, pension credit is one of the most underclaimed benefits. In fact, Independent Age estimates that almost £2.5 million in pension credit goes unclaimed every year by over 1,000 pensioner households in East Kilbride alone. And on top of that, pension credit only tops up total weekly income to around £11,000 per year for single pensioners, or just over £17,000 for a couple. Presiding Officer, Keir Starmer has had 18 grand's worth of free football tickets in the past 12 months. Yet he expects two pensioners earning less than that between them to be able to get by without their winter fuel payment. During the election campaign, Labour also promised to lower people's energy bills. Instead, just this month, household fuel bills have gone up by 10%, or £149 on average. So most pensioners are facing the double whammy of higher bills and no winter fuel payment. The Daily Record reported last week that Labour MSPs are frustrated with new Scottish Labour MPs for voting to cut winter fuel payments. So I wonder, Presiding Officer, whether those Labour MSPs will do the right thing today and support the Scottish Government's motion calling on the UK Government to reverse its decision. So in concluding, the UK Government must introduce an essentials guarantee for universal credit, and they must scrap the two-child cap. They must also reverse the introduction of means testing for the winter fuel payment. I hope Scotland's Parliament will unite to agree on this, and that the Labour Government marks Challenge Poverty Week not with warm words, but by reinstating universal winter fuel payment so that we can protect our pensioners.
Thank you, Ms.